So we have a 9-cart field, but it's still going to be as... Dankeschön, Konrad Bayer, mein Freund. A good friend of mine who's raced in the Euro Trophy and also the BNL Karting Series, not here today. Well, mate, I hope everything goes well. I'll see you soon. So, the grid is as follows. Austin Lee in the 114 is on pole position with Lewis Heichel in the 177 alongside. And we've got David Schnell in the 104 and Mikko Mikov in the 102 alongside. Then we've got Jonas Ungneder in the 158 and Lewis Detting rounding out the top 3 rows in the 158 and the 155 respectively. Then Leandro Fischer in the 136, Julian Jungheim in the 124 and Kajus Rusevicius in the 109 rounding out the 9 strong. So they've gone on to the sighting lap. It's going to give the drivers, they've had some free training this morning, free practice this morning, just to get an idea of the conditions. The conditions were horrible yesterday. I was in at Rye House, where Lewis Hamilton started his career as an 8-year-old, and there was a deluge of rainfall, let me just say that much. But now this is how the young drivers really get themselves ready. So, Max, ein bisschen Überblick, aber was denkst du über, was passiert mit dem Start bei dem Formation Lab? Was denkst du, was ist im Kopf in diesem Moment?
Also ich hoffe halt, dass für jeden Fahrer gut ausgeht und dass der Start auch direkt gut erfolgt und in der ersten Runde, dass auch keiner rausgekickelt wird und dass ein faires Rennen wird und eigentlich keine Strafen geben muss.
Danke für die Überblick. So, the drivers very much in line astern, side-by-side formation as customary in Rotax racing circles. And some of the drivers are going to, try and get some warmth into the tyres. They'll start weaving from left to right. But sometimes it's not about just warming up the tyres. It's also getting the mental aspect of the start right. So it is Lee, Heichel, Schnell, Mikov, Ungnade, Detling, Fischer, Jungheim and Rudsevicius. That's the 9-strong grid here in the first of 2 mini-max races here at the RMC Clubsport finale here in Kerpen. So they now make their way into the tram lines. All looks to be a little bit squirrely there from Lewis Heichel on the start. So that is a full start. That is a definitive full start because Heichel went to put the power down and nearly went Tokyo drift through the tram lines and actually made a slight infringement. So the race director went, no, you're going around again. So as Max was saying, it's just they're just hoping for a really, really good start and that hopefully everything works out going into the first corner. And this is where that point of, everyone says, well, when racing happens, the red mist comes down. That's very true, but it's about getting that clean start. It's about getting that grip. It's about getting that traction away from the line when you put the power down out of the final corner to get yourself going. So once again, it is Lee from Heichel, Schnell, Mikov, Ungnade, Detling, Fischer, Jungheim and Rudsevicius. As the second time around looks to be just as slow as the first on the formation lap, but it's going to help them a little bit. The track is still a little bit greasy. There is a dry line starting to develop on the inside of turn 1, going through the apex, but it's coming out of certain corners. If they're on the inside and it's greasy, it possibly might catch them out. So now we get going, hopefully for the second time this time around, here at Kerpen in the first of 2 mini-max races. Their one will be the one just before the lunch break, which takes place at around about 1:10 local time here in Kerpen. As we go underway once again, does it happen this time? Let's see. I think they might have let them go, but there is a straggler at the back, and that is the 136 of Leandro Fischer. So whilst the rest of the field looks like, I think that's Lewis Heichel. Oh, we've got a spinner, and that is the 155 of Lewis Detling, who went spinning 180 degrees the wrong way and almost collected the 124 of Julian Jungheim. I see he's running on the Ralf Schumacher chassis, as the 136 of Leandro Fischer pulls off And that is it. The 136's race is done, so we're down to 8 competitors. As the first 6 come through, and it's definitely getting a bit feisty. Oh, a bit sideways there for the 158. That was Ungnade trying to go up the inside. I think that might have been of Austin Lee, but as Ungnade went sideways going through the approach into the Schumacher chicane, but now has got the 102 of Mikko Mikov for close company. That's the battle for P3 and P4. So already as Julian Jungheim, and we've got another spinner. That is the 140, that's the 104. That is David Schnell, and there was also, I think that was Rutzevicius that nearly went spinning in sympathy. But now that's allowed Louis Detling to close up on them. So, Max, ein bisschen Überblick von dir über die Start dieses Rennen, mein Freund.
Also es war ja, der Start war am Anfang nicht so gut. Da musste erst nochmal ein zweiter Start gemacht werden. Und der Starterfeld war schon am Anfang ein bisschen weit ausgezogen. Da habe ich noch überlegt, ob da überhaupt nochmal freigegeben wird. Dann wurde aber noch freigegeben. Und ja, jetzt probieren natürlich die Fahrer alles zu gehen. Hier sieht man auch gerade der Austin Lee. Ist hier ein bisschen ins Gras gefahren. Und ja, mal gucken, wie es sich jetzt im Laufe des Rennens noch entwickelt.
Okay, danke viel, Max. So the battle for the lead is a 4-way scrap, and it is being led by Austin Lee, who is getting a bit, having to fend off Louis Reichel, who I think has gone up the inside, or close to it. Let's see, Austin Lee still leads, but going very wide looks to be Mikko Mikov in 4th position, going through the 180-degree hairpin after the start-finish straight. So it's a short blast down to there, and then it's a 180-degree turn to the right-hand side. Now they get into the sweeping parts of the track here at Kerpen, and you can just see how much Austin Lee is wrestling with the steering wheel, with Louis Reichel just behind in 2nd place, but Ungnade and Mikov can't be counted out on this particular occasion. It looks like Mikov's already up into P3. So Jonas Ungnade down into P4, but is close on the heels of the 102 as they come round through the Schumacher chicane. Oh, that was very, very testing indeed there from the 158 of Ungnade, trying to go up the inside of Mikko Mikov through the final corner. The kart tried to sort of snap from the back end, as it's just doing the same to Mikko Mikov going through the through turn 2, and it gets very technical here, very sweeping, so they're having to use a balance of throttle and steering to get the karts towed in. So Max, du hast an dieser Strecke gefahren, aber was ist seine Gedenknis über die Komposition für die Strecke hier in Kerpen?
Also die Strecke ist jetzt nicht keine einfache und also nicht so schwer und nicht so einfach. Halt im Regen auch ist es immer schwer, die Ideallinie zu finden. Es gibt viele Wege, wie man die fährt, aber oft sind es halt so, wie sie gerade fahren, fast die schnellste Linie, und jeder probiert halt dem anderen abzugucken, wie man fährt, dass man halt schneller wird.
Okay, danke, Max. So, 5 minutes to go, plus an additional lap. Austin Lee starting to stretch a little bit of an advantage now over Louis Reichel to about 6.5 tenths of a second. Then it's down to Mikko Mikov, who's about a further 8 tenths of a second adrift. The top 4 now separated by just over 2 seconds, with Jonas Ungnade in the 158 rounding out the top 4, but David Schnell is getting a bit quicker now, just keeping an eye on the lap times. So 58.9, and is actually the quickest out of the top 5 by at least 3.5 tenths. Well, he's 0.374 of a second in his best lap time than Austin Lee, and the slowest out of the top 5 is actually Ungnade in the 158. As they now come through to complete what's going to be the end of lap number 5 here, as Austin Lee again wrestles with the kart. It's not just him that's having to fend off the difficult conditions, as there is a distinctive dry line going through the Schumacher chicane. So Austin Lee looks to be getting a move on now. 1.2 seconds ahead of Louis Reichel in the 177 in 2nd position. Mikko Mikov still rounds out the top 3. And we're just waiting. Julian Jungheim now has crossed the start-finish line in the 124 in 8th position. Still putting in some consistent lap times, round about in the low 60, the mid 60-second bracket. So a 60.4 4:53 was Julian's lap time last time around. So again, it's a long blast. It's quite a long straightaway. So when they're probably pushing in the region of about 120 to 130 kilometers per hour at top speed, and that's quicker than the actual national speed limit in the United Kingdom. So Austin Lee was 1.2 seconds ahead of Lewis Heichel, but this time around it's been dropped. So Heichel was over 210. He's actually 0.208 of a second quicker than Austin Lee. Gap now down to just over 1 second. So Heichel definitely getting a motor on. And a little bit further down, I think I'm seeing that David Schnell is trying to close in on the 158 of Ungneder for what is effectively P4. So Austin Lee just really hustling the kart through the corners, trying to carry the momentum through. As we've got just 2 minutes and 20 seconds plus an additional lap remaining. Austin Lee again, when they come through the flat left after the long straightaway, before they head into the Schumacher chicane, he's nearly going sideways towards, so the back end of the car is stepping out to the right-hand side. He's having to use a bit of correction on the steering to do so. Let's see what the gap is now. Well, Austin Lee has responded. And just behind, it looks like that's probably going to be a three-way scrap for at least, I think. So in the middle of all that is David Schnell, and it was nearly three abreast coming out of the turn 2 hairpin. So Max, noch ein spannendes Rennen.
Ja, finde ich schon. Also hier ist ja ein Dreikampf jetzt mit den Kaius Rutzewitzius, Jonas Ungneder und David Schnell. Da kommt es jetzt natürlich drauf an, dass man sich gut absetzt oder dass man halt schnell vorbeikommt und den anderen hinten dran halt nicht vorbeilässt.
So ist es ein bisschen hin und her. So.
Ja. Aber am Ende wird man ja dann sehen, wer von den drei am besten war.
Okay, danke Max. So just over 70 seconds remaining on the clock plus an additional lap. Austin Lee trying to get the aerodynamics working as best he can on the kart. As he's now extended the gap over Lewis Heichel to what is now 1.728 seconds. So with the pace that he's been setting, he's been running, he's actually just put in the fastest lap of the race as the 104 of David Schnell is battling away with Jonas Ungneder. That is for 4th place, and it's fast becoming a three-way scrap for that position with Kaius Rutzewitzius, as there's another change there. That could have been, I think David Schnell's gone up into P4, possibly as they go through the sweeping lefts and rights here at Kerpen. So, Austin Lee and now Lewis Heichel make their way through the Schumacher chicane. And then just behind the 102 of Mikko Mikov, it's a three-way scrap being led by David Schnell. So Austin Lee crosses the timing line with around about 10 seconds remaining, so it puts them onto the penultimate lap of the race. But this battle is just really, really enticing. This is for 4th to 6th place. So Ungneder is leading Schnell and Rutzewitzius. That is 4th to 6th position. As Schnell goes a little bit wide there. Ungneder tries to respond, can't go up the inside or go towards the outside of turn 3. As Rutzewitzius gets a little bit sideways as they go into these nice undulating corners here at Kerpen, and there's a cheeky little look up the inside of David Schnell by Jonas Ungneder on the penultimate lap of the race, but Austin Lee has got a comfortable margin. He goes through the Schumacher's chicane for the penultimate time. Now, could this be a move that could decide P5? Not quite yet. No, it does. It does, because it looks like David Schnell, I think, might have gone a little bit wide, or was that Mikko Mikov maybe? No, that was David Schnell that went wide, so that's allowed the 158 of Ungneder and the 109 of Rutzewitzius to get past on the just as they cross the start-finish line to start the final lap. And Austin Lee leads by just over 2.3 seconds as Schnell trying to get back past the 109 of Rutzewitzius on the final lap as much, well, try as he might. And it could be very much a case of a dash to the finish. So Austin Lee comes through the left-hander at the end of the back straight for the final time. Through the Schumacher chicane comes the 1:14 of Austin Lee round the final corner. What a great job. Kept everyone at bay and takes the checkered flag with quite a comfortable victory ahead of Louis Reichel. And the gap was 2.5 seconds at the end of that race. Nice work by Mikko Mikov, who just celebrates with one finger in the air. And it was a drag race to the finish for P4 between Ugneda and Rudzevicius, with 1:58 coming out on top. David Schnell, after that mistake where he went over the dirt, unfortunately, put him down to 6th position ahead of Louis Detling, and Julian Jungheim round out the top 8. But Austin Lee wins the first Minimax race here at the RMC Clubsport finale here at Kerpen in Germany, just around about half an hour from Cologne-Bonn Airport. So Austin Lee wins in the 1:14 by 2.558 seconds. Louis Reichel takes second in the 1:77 ahead of the 1:02 of Mikko Mikov. Jonas Ungnada rounds out the top 4 after a great 3-race scrap between the 1:58, the 1:09 of Rudzevicius, who would end up 5th. David Schnell, having gone dirt tracking, would end up in P6 at the end of it all, with Louis Detling in 7th, Julian Jungheim in 8th, with Leandro Fischer now walking back to the paddock. Aber Max, das war eine gute Rennen.
Ja, war sehr spannend. Gab auch viele Kämpfe und am Ende auch nochmal gesehen, der David Schnell hat ja dann auch einen Fehler gemacht. Dadurch konnte ja der Jonas Unknader noch auf 4 kommen. Und ja, war sehr ein gutes Rennen.
Okay, wir sprechen uns miteinander ein bisschen später heute bei der letzten Wertungslauf bei der Mikro und der Mini. So, danke sehr. So now it gets on to the bigger